When preparing to analyze data that you compile, whether it be from student records or from a survey, you're going to need to do some data cleanup. In other words, getting that data, getting rid of unnecessary information and putting the data into formats that can be easily analyzed, particularly for statistical analyses. So what we have here is just a very small sample data set. I've just made up some student IDs, but let's just pretend that they're actual IDs. And students in this survey responded to some courses about their use of textbooks, required textbooks for their courses. So this first question asked students to rate the overall quality of the course, or the overall quality of the required textbook for the course. And they had options ranging from 1, which is very poor, to 5, which equated to very good. To analyze these statistically, we need to transpose these numbers into numerical values only. We need to get rid of the words. And in doing so, it's very easily. If you had a data set as small as this, you could just do it manually. But if you had a data set that had thousands and thousands of records, then doing this via automated process is a much safer bet to be sure you're capturing everything. One option is to do simple searches and replaces. So what I like to do there is I like to keep the integrity of my initial data, meaning I'm not going to change anything in it yet. Instead, I'm going to create a duplicate column of these same records. So I'm just highlighting the whole column and saying copy. And then in the next column, I'm saying paste values, meaning it's just a complete duplicate. So now I feel safe that I've maintained the integrity of the initial data set. And so now I can have some fun doing some searching and replacing. So to do that, I'm just highlighting this column only, column C. I'm selecting Control F, which opens up the search function or the find function. I'm going to select replace, and I'm going to simply replace all of the ones, very poor, with just the numerical value 1. And then I'm going to do that for all of the 5s. Anytime it finds very good, 5 very good, it's just going to replace it with the number 5, and so on. So I went ahead and replaced all of those words with just numerical values. So now these data are in a format where you could easily calculate an average mean or median, mode, anything like that. So that one's ready to go. And then I could get rid of the original. We can always get back to the original data source by going to the survey tool and re-downloading it if things go kind of awry. But I've got what I need for that column, so we're good to go there. The next question asked about how many courses a student took that cost money. And it was a multiple choice item where they could say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 or more. But let's say we want to create some categories, meaning we want the 0s and 1s to be in their own category, 2, 3, and 4 into their own category, and maybe 5 or 6 or more into their own category. So an easy way to do that is to create a quick little lookup table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy column C, and I'm going to open up a new little worksheet tab, and I'm going to paste the values. It's just a simple duplication of what we had. And now I want to get rid of all of the duplicates so that we only have our 6 or 7 answer choices left. So to do that, I'm going to highlight column A. I'm going to data. And then about the middle of the ribbon, I'm just going to say remove duplicates. and I'm going to go ahead and sort them high to low here. So I'm just going to highlighted my whole data set. I'm going to data, sort. My data has a header. The header is number of courses that cost money, and I want it to be sorted A to Z. This is asking me, should the computer sort anything that looks like a number as a number? In other words, it's looking at the 0 and the 6 or more, and there's words associated with those. So we're telling it, yes, sort anything that looks like a number as a number. It didn't quite know what to do with the 0, so let's just go ahead and manually put that 0 up there at the top. So we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 or more. Oh, sorry. So now we want to create number, courses, category. So I'm just creating a new value here, a new field that says if it finds any zeros or ones, to put it in the category of 0-1. Any 2s or 3s, let's say we're going to put the 2s and 3s into a category. 2s to 3s are going to go into this category. And don't worry about what you're seeing there. We're going to fix that in a minute. And then the 4s to 5s we're going to put in their own category. And then 6 or more, let's just call that 6 plus. So you can see here, when we enter 2-3 and 4-5, it thought we were talking about dates. So we just need to change the format of this column to just be, we're going to refer to this as text. Even though there are numbers involved, we're going to tell the computer to treat it like text. So I'm just going to highlight this column, say format values or format cells, and say text. And now we need to go back in and fix these ones that came through as kind of funny looking. We should have done that. We should have formatted that column before we did anything. But now you know it's an easy fix. So now we're going to go back to our survey data. And we're going to create a new column called number, courses, cat for category. And then we're just going to run a simple little lookup function where we're going to tell our computer to look in this column for a value and then go to our lookup table, and anytime it finds the matching value to retrieve whatever is in column B. So I'm in the cell where I want my new item, my new value to go. So I'm just going to type in equals VLOOKUP, open paren, kind of starts the function out. It says lookup value. So where do we want the computer to look first? We want it to look here in column or cell C2, number of courses that have money, that cost money. So I'm just clicking there. Now I'm going to put in a comma. Now it says table array. So we need to tell it where to go looking for the lookup information. So we're going to go to our lookup table, which is on sheet 2. Our table array is the full amount of data here that we have. I'm just easily highlighting columns A and B. And then entered another comma. Now it says column index number. So it's saying if you find a match in column A, we want to say retrieve the value that is in column 2 or column B. So it has to, this formula requires us to use numerical values for the columns. So B would equal column 2, C would equal column 3. And now we say, now you see here it says we have to enter in either the word true, which is an approximate match, or false, which is an exact match. In other words, we want the false exact match. So anytime it finds this exact string of words and numbers, then deliver retrieve this value. We don't want it to be approximate. So we're going to use the word false here. And then close the paren and select enter. So now that brings us back to our master sheet. And then you can just drag this down and it will fill in all of the values, the corresponding values. So you see here we have a couple of NAs. Don't worry, that's not an error. That just means that it looked here and there was nothing in the data. There was nothing in our original data set to deal with. So you can either leave the NAs or we can just delete them. And I'm going to go ahead and delete them. That way, when we're doing analysis, the computer will just ignore those wherever it sees an NA. So I'm just going to do a Control F. And I'm going to tell the computer anytime it finds an NA in this column D to just leave it blank. Well, that didn't work as expected because the computer is not seeing these things as actual values. It's looking at these as formulas. So I had missed this step. What we first need to do is change these formulas to actual values. So I'm going to highlight this column. I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to say paste as values. So what we've done is we've gotten rid of the formula, and now these are actual values. You can see here we're no longer seeing that formula. So now we can go back and replace the NAs with blanks. And it looks like for some reason this item 2-3 changed to February 3rd. So we need to fix that too. Let's see. Let's go ahead and format our cells again. I don't know why it didn't take that first time, but that 2-3 needs to be fixed. And now we can do a search and replace to get rid of these NAs. So I'm just highlighting the column, selecting Control F, saying anytime we find an NA, just deliver us a blank. And so now we have data that can be easily compared based on the number of courses a student took. So rather than looking at the raw values here, we can now do group comparisons based on this newly created value.